then this is my dodgy diagram trying to explain a little bit more about coppicing that we spoke about this morning, and about how if you had a woodland, say that was a 7-year rotation, you divide your woodland into 7 coops, 7 areas, and then the first year you cut section 1, second year cut section 2, and you'll end up with these coppice stools that I was trying to describe outside. And each year, each time they were cut, they'll regrow from that stump. And that's where you we were talking about wanting to cut above like the branch collars on them, so they get kind of progressively bigger as the years go on. But yeah, some of the oldest trees around are old coppice trees, because if you think about this, you've got a massive like root structure underneath that was used to supporting one massive tree, and then because it's been cut, you've got kind of small but very productive thin shoots that are going to come up off of it, supported by like a massive root structure. So it kind of, in a way, it helps the tree be more sort of efficient at the water and the nutrients that it's kind of harvesting. One thing to be aware of is that once you start coppicing trees, you need to continue in the future, because they can become what's called overstood. If you let them at this stage stay and they get thicker and thicker and thicker, once they get very heavy, and when they're particularly long poles, if you imagine a lot of weight at the top of them, that can act as like big levers, and they split out, and so they'll then rip the bottom of the stool, which means it leaves open to infection and debris and fungal attack and stuff. So yeah, once coppice is coppiced, you want to keep coppicing. So yeah, that's a little summary of that. But any questions from any of that we've done today, either earlier this morning or this afternoon?
Hazel's very good at being coppiced. Are there trees that don't react to it well?
Yeah, so you can only coppice broadleaf trees, so coniferous species, you'll kill them if you cut them. As I understand it, you can any broadleaf tree, but there are certain ones that are more likely to be coppiced because they're faster growing, or they, tend to grow straighter and things.
You don't obviously oak coppice, do you?
No, but you can coppice oak, and I think traditionally oak would be coppiced and pollarded, but in the days where you'd have timber framed buildings and shipbuilding and stuff like that, that you would. But you'd leave them like 100, like instead of like a 7-year rotation, it's like a 100-year rotation kind of thing to get the timbers of the size that you wanted. But the species that you tend to see coppiced, hazel, ash, well, before it got the nasty disease, but ash, sweet chestnuts will coppice, things like willow will coppice.
I can't remember if you said this, there was like a timeline between doing the first coppice then to moving on to the next bit. Was there a certain amount of time that you better wait? Or?
So yeah, it depends traditionally it'd be what you wanted as a product. Right. So if you imagine as the years go by, the poles get thicker and thicker. So if you were keeping a coppice for like tool handles and walking sticks, maybe, within 7 years you'd harvest. Whereas if you had a coppice of, say, sweet chestnut, where you were making, like the big chestnut fences or something, then you'd want something much thicker, so you're probably 20, 30 years rotation. So the gap in between harvesting depends on how big you want your poles to be, basically. Yeah.